Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers at the film's greatest hits, 97.7 WTGV, 326 on a Thursday afternoon. And I alluded to earlier a little bit of news involving a team in the AL Comedy Central that might be good news for your Detroit Tigers. And that is that the current owners of the Minnesota Twins, the Pohlad family, who have owned it since like the 80s and have basically managed it into the ground in the 3 decades since their last World Series, they will apparently not be selling the team after all. There was talk that they were going to offload the franchise for somewhere in the $1.7 billion mark per The Athletic, but they've apparently decided that with the addition of a few smaller investors who won't get all that much say the day-to-day operations apparently, that they're staying in the business even though they've literally run it into debt and everything else. Apparently, there's a significant bit of debt that they were in, which is amazing considering they're not spending that much on players or anything. But they're going to stay involved, I guess. And it's not even like a thing with the White Sox, where you had Justin Ishbia, brother of one Matt Ishbia, Spartan booster, and the current owner of the Phoenix Suns, who bought into the White Sox with the intention of eventually replacing Jerry Reinsdorf as the majority owner there. This is apparently not a succession plan, and the Pohlads are going to continue to call the shots for the foreseeable future and beyond, which can only be a good thing for the Tigers, right? The more incompetent owners in the AL Central, the easier it is to win a title, right? Plenty more music on the way next to 97.7 WTGV. Steve Miller Band and Jet Airliner, the Thumb's greatest hits, 97.7 WTGV. And for my folk who listen closer to the Flint area, I know it's been a trying time lately. It's been hard for everybody as the company that's been making the Flint coney sauce, it's like basically the official sauce of the Flint coney, announced earlier this year they were shutting down and discontinuing operations after something like 120 years. Well, fear not, apparently Koegel themselves are stepping up to make sure that your awful tradition stays alive, as they have come out with their own Flint-style coney sauce that they say is as authentic and close to the real Flint-style deal as is possible. In a statement, they said, quote, Koegel's has been producing chili sauce for decades to fill the demand for Koegel-style chili dogs, but we have recently developed and perfected our own recipe for a coney sauce that meets the flavor profile the local geography generally prefers. The flavor and texture is in every way what you would expect from a Flint-style sauce, and quite frankly, a little bit of editorializing on the part of your not-so-humble correspondent. That's the problem. I'm sorry, as a born and raised Detroiter who is convinced that, the Detroit way is not only the right way, but in fact the only way, you're probably not going to see me trying any of that anytime soon. You feel free to tell me how wrong I am at 810-648-4631, but this is one that you are not going to change my mind on. Sorry. On the other side, we'll hear from Tonic coming up at 97.7 WTGV. Cars and just what I needed at 97.7 WTGV. And look, I love animals. Love dogs. Love cats as much as the next guy, and probably a little bit more so. But there's just some spaces that you really don't need to bring them to, and restaurants are definitely very high on that list for me. Look, I've accepted that at your dive-year bars that sometimes you're just going to see a dog, wandering the premises or sleeping in a corner or whatever. And, that's fine. That's cool. But when you have them start eating off the tables, that's a little bit of an issue. But apparently, there are some people that would vehemently disagree with me on that. And apparently, if you run into one of those people and tell them, hey, knock it off with the dog eating off the table, you might get a plate or something thrown at you. A North Carolina man is facing an assault charge after injuring a restaurant worker last month. 49-year-old Gary Scholar was arrested after assaulting an employee at a Longhorn Steakhouse in Wilmington on July 23rd. He was eating at the restaurant with his dog and feeding it from the table when an employee informed him that that's a health code violation. Apparently having the dog there is not, but having him eating off the table, oh, absolutely. He then, like the reasonable human being that he clearly is, yelled obscenities and insults and threw a porcelain plate at the worker's head when he was told to leave the restaurant. The employee was taken to a hospital to treat serious injuries, ended up getting a hairline fracture to his skull and required 7 stitches. Scholar apparently was arrested on August 7th after investigation and charged with assault inflicting serious injury. Apparently, the guy owned a brewery and, well, was arrested for assault and threats from that business as well. But sometimes, I just gotta say, and this goes for whether you have kids, animals, doesn't really matter to me. At some point, you really have to understand the animal or child you're bringing in is not the center of everybody else's attention. And like myself, I think cats and dogs are adorable. Don't really want to deal with them invading my space trying to eat my food at a restaurant. You know, some people think kids are adorable. I'm not one of those people, and I definitely don't want your screaming kid interrupting my dining experience. Like, have a little bit of self-awareness. That would really go a long, long way. Plenty of music as we make our way towards the 6 o'clock hour. We'll hear from Van Halen coming up at 97.7 WTGV. There's Bryan Adams and Run to You with the Thumb's Greatest Hits, 97.7 WTGV. And if I may, I kind of want to go on a little bit of a rant here. I know I've already offended like people who like Flint Coneys and Twins fans, any of the three of them who might be listening to the show this afternoon. I'm on a roll here. Let's just keep going. So as most of you know, we had some pretty nasty storms across the Thumb and Blue Water area. We were kind of hit with some strong winds and hail and things of that nature. And there's always one thing that happens whenever there is a big storm like that, whether we get a whole lot of damage or not, but almost immediately after the storm hits, you get the guys, the ambulance chasers really of the home improvement world kind of flowing through your town and knocking door to door and trying to get you to let them up on your roof so they can tell you how horribly damaged it is and how much you're in danger of your whole house collapsing or whatever. I got one of those last night, actually, while I was doing this show at the home studio, and I just kind of decided that I really didn't want to deal with it. Because in the past, when I've done this, these people tend to not take no for an answer. Like, they're very insistent. I mean, no, I'm right here right now. I can quit. No, I can go get the ladder right out of the car. We can get this done right now, like right this second, try to get you to commit to something. If you're the kind of person that has a hard time telling people no with stuff, they're going to try and, be as high pressure as possible to try and convince you that you are in dire need of this immediately. Like, you could tell them that you have a guy, and I have in fact told them that I have a guy. Whether or not I do have a guy is completely immaterial to this, but they do not take that for an answer. I mean, I'm here right now, I could do it. Like, no, like, I'm not a fan of the door-to-door salesman thing. I am not historically the kind of guy that makes major life-altering decisions based on someone showing up at my doorstep and putting on a high-pressure sales pitch. Just not my thing, especially something as important as your roof. Not gonna do it. It feels really, I don't want to say predatory, that doesn't feel like the right language to use here, but it definitely feels like they're trying to put pressure on you to do something that you don't necessarily want to do. Now, if said roofing company were to advertise on a certain local radio station, then maybe I'm a little more inclined to hear you out and listen to your message. Let's get a quick check your weather. Right now, you're at 77 at the Sand Lake Broadcasting World headquarters in downtown Sandusky under fair skies. Meteorologist John McMurray has the details of your weekend forecast coming up here at 97.7 WTGV. There's Candlebox, a band that has played Lapeer Days in years past and did a quite fine job, if I do say so myself. There's the Thumb's Greatest Hits, 97.7 WTGV. Lapeer Days proper kicks off tomorrow. Of course, the carnival already going since Wednesday, but the full festival kicks off tomorrow. All the fun, all of the booths, all of the food trucks, the Bayou Billy especially. God, I cannot wait to get some New Orleans steak in my life. It's really the thing I look forward to most at this festival all year long, other than, of course, the live music. And we'll be hanging out all afternoon here at the Thumb's Greatest Hits. I'll be taking over at 1 o'clock tomorrow, hanging out in front of the Lyric Mall in lovely downtown Lapeer, hanging out with you until 7 o'clock, doing sessions, also live on the street at 7, with special musical guest Cash O'Reilly, who will be playing the West Stage with his band, the Five and Dime Poets, coming up at 8 o'clock that night. We'll also have tickets to give away. I have been on good authority from our good friend Adam Harahug from Sessions that we have tickets to give away to see Bullet Boys with Sybil and the Beast on August 23rd at the Genesee County Fair. So stop by and see us. We probably won't make you jump through too many hoops to get those, but that's a lie. We probably absolutely will. Then we'll be hanging out Saturday afternoon as well till the Tiger game. and then migrating over to our brother station, WMIC 660 95.3 FM, for a special 2-hour edition of the Blarney Hour. 2 hours of the best Irish music on earth, really, from 7 till 9 p.m. out on the streets of downtown Lapeer. Going to be a great time all the way around. We'll have details, of course, on the Satellite Broadcasting Facebook page, where you can find us, and all the cool stuff that we're doing. And we'll probably end up drunk at the beer tent at some point thereafter. Got time for a few more before I get out of here this afternoon. We'll hear from Hart and Foghat. Plus, well, we've got to say goodbye to a good friend of ours here around the Satellite Broadcasting studios. We'll do all that coming up next right here at 97.7 WTGV. There's Hart and Barracuda at 97.7 WTGV. That's going to about do it for me for this afternoon. But before I get out of here, kind of wanted to take a moment here and kind of recognize one of the hardworking people behind the scenes here that makes all the things go here at Satellite Broadcasting. It is, in fact, her final week here at these stations. You've heard her. In fact, you heard her this evening doing the news. Our good friend, Katherine Conlee. How you doing over there?
I'm just chilling over here. It's pretty good. It's been a good week, I think. I'm just trying to transition and, I guess, exit from here. Hopefully come back at some point.
Now, how long have you been here? I'm pretty sure you've been longer than I have.
I think I started in November, December. It was like 2022 or something.
Okay, so you've definitely been here longer than I have then, and have quite frankly gotten more professional in that time than I have. So you're headed off to college. You're going off to the University of Michigan. Do you know what exactly it is you're going? You have an idea of kind of what you want to. I don't want to say what you want to do when you grow up, because if I've learned one thing in this industry, it's that in order to keep doing this, you can't grow up. But like, have you got like an idea of what you think you want to kind of go forward with doing? Like, do you want to keep doing this? Do you want to go maybe into the print side of journalism? Have we scared you away from doing radio forever? Like,
I think you guys are good there. I know when I first started, at least, this was a question Nick asked. I know we were doing like a fair remote, and he kind of asked about, I don't know, if I was interested in any of that. And I think communication side of it, like, I mean, I like journalism. I like English as well, though, creative writing part. So, I mean, I wouldn't mind pursuing that, but maybe this in the future, if I can find that path.
I'd say you certainly can. I mean, you've built yourself a nice little body of work here at these stations, and I think any station on Earth would be really lucky to have you on board. What's been your favorite thing about working here at Satellite?
Probably people. I mean, I think Eddie, Nick, you, everybody, Erica, just Bob, Michelle, everybody in general. It's kind of been, I don't know, all part of the experience and everything. And I don't think I could have done any of this stuff without any of you guys being here. So we appreciate that.
And we appreciate everything, certainly, that you've brought to the table. I know whatever it is you end up doing after here, you're going to do a fantastic job of it. One more question before I get out of here, because you've been doing the Saturday morning swap shop thing for the last, however many years it's been. Craziest swap shop call or craziest item that's been put up for sale on the show while you've been hosting?
Other than live animals and like regular cats and stuff.
Yeah, that'll happen.
I think somebody put a bathtub up for sale. I don't remember what kind. It's not like weird or anything, but it was like, the way it was described, I don't remember. It was just very odd. And not like to diss anybody who was calling in about that, but I don't remember. It was just, no. No.
That seems like the thing that, once it's been used, you don't tend to want to buy someone else's used one of those traditionally. Like, much like a used toilet or something. No, that's quite all right. That's fine. I'll just go get a new one. Don't even worry about that. Well, Katherine, it's been an absolute pleasure having you here. We've very much enjoyed having you around, and especially even when we're out on remote and you're back here and we're just giving you a hard time, which we do to all the news people. Like, we only do that to the people we like, though. So the fact that we pick on you, it means we must have liked you a bit. Thank you so much for everything, and we wish you the best of luck at Michigan. And, of course, go green. Sorry, Spartan fan here. Had to get one last dig in there.
Yeah, I'm not until the whole, sports debate and everything.
Yeah.
So I'll stick around for that, whatever. My sister's going to go to MSU, so.
Oh, so So the great divide right there in the family. I love that. That is fantastic. Well, Catherine, thank you for your time. I know you got a lot of work yet still to do tonight. We appreciate having you around. Call in and send her some well wishes on Swap Shop this Saturday morning over on our brother station WMIC 660 95.3 FM. On that note, that's going to do it for me for this afternoon. Thank you for hanging out. Tiger Baseball comes your way up next. Tarek Skubal, must see Skubal in prime time tonight. He's taking the mound at 7:40, which means we got to get out of here. All being well, I will talk to you tomorrow at 1, live from Lapeer Days in downtown Lapeer. I leave you with Foghat and Slow Ride, the full 8-minute version, because that's just how we do things here at 97.7 WTGV.